Now, sir, now, I may not be your father. I believe it is that thing over there. Hello my friends, and welcome back to Player Display. Today we're going to be looking at the Disney Parks exclusive Star Wars The Black Series Creature Pack. Now this is a set I've been looking for a very long time, and I actually asked a friend to get it while she was at Disney, but apparently not only could she not find it, but she asked an employee who said that they are an online exclusive. So she came back, gave me the news, and I think a year later, I actually went to the park myself, and then I saw a whole bunch of these packs on the racks, so I don't know what the state of the game is at this point when it comes to actually obtaining these guys. At the end of the day, I have them, and I'm very happy. It's a really nice little set. It's effectively more of an accessory pack than a character pack, but it's really nice when you're accenting your displays or if you want to throw in one of these little critters to complement one of the main figures. But yeah, what we got in this set is 2 quacking monkey lizards, a bogling, a Minoc, and, well, these little bastards. Before we actually get into the figures themselves, why don't we go ahead and readjust the camera so we can look at the back of the box. I no longer possess the full box, but we can at least look here. Here you can actually get a good read at all the multilingual descriptions if you like. And pretty much what we get in this pack is 1 Minoc, as we saw in The Empire Strikes Back. I believe he was also included with an SDCC exclusive pack with Han and Leia. And we also come with the very adorable Bogling, as we saw debut in the Jedi Fallen Order video game. And up here we have 1 Kowakian monkey lizard, which may or may not be Salacious Crumb, or Muck Muck. You see Salacious Crumb and, of course, Return of the Jedi being Jabba the Hutt's lackey, and then you also see Muck Muck being Hondo Ohnaka's buddy in the Clone Wars show. You also have the Porgs. Yeah, you have Porgs. So why don't we begin with who we can probably all say are the definitive showrunners with this pack, which are 2 variants of Quacky and Monkey Lizard. And these 2 guys are also very important because this is the 2 characters that have the most exclusivity within the pack. You have, of course, Salacious Crumb, who showed up alongside the Black Series Jabba the Hutt on 2 occasions, I believe, and both of them are equally very difficult to get. I guess Jabba more so because we get Crumb again for a 3rd time in this creature pack. And as for Muck Muck, he is actually the only unique character within this pack. He is effectively just a repaint of Crumb over here, but I loved Crumb growing up, and I came to love Muck Muck even more, simply because he has tropical parrot colors, which I really like. I'm not an avian expert, so you'll need to tell me what parrot that was. Let me know in the comments. I'd like to learn a little bit about our feathered friends. Now, even though they effectively have the same sculpt, let's have a look at one at a time. We have Salacious B. Crumb over here. What that B stands for might be a mystery to all until the end of time. Yeah, looking up on the face, you got some really nice sculptural details. I mean, there's only so much you can do when they get this itsy-bitsy, but you can see the paint detail is pretty well applied. I mean, there's not a lot of room for photoreal, if that's even applicable to a creature like this. But yeah, you look at him and you go, yep, that's Jabba's little jester from the palace. So you get the little tufts of an orange-ish hair going on the top of the head, on the tips of the ears, and then on the corners of the mouth. You also got that little nose right there, which has a dash of paint rub. I think it's my fault, just because of the way I've stored him. I've taken very special care of Muck Muck, as you perhaps may have been able to tell throughout the duration of these videos. He was kind of stored away because I don't have a Jabba to display him with. I have the original Kenner version, but the Black Series one is so freaking hard to get. And as for the eyes, very, very tiny, but you can make out that they're yellow with a little black pupil going on. You get a very wrinkled neck, and then also a very wrinkled little gut right there, which looks really cute. Then you also got some more of that orange ruffle going around the neck and then above the shoulders. Looking down the arms, they are very skinny and long. I think perhaps a hair longer than they should be. I guess it was always hard to tell. He was a puppet in the original movie. He was always crouched down, just cackling a whole lot. So you didn't really get a whole lot of arm movement from this guy. And you also got his fingers, which are 3 digits, which is quite familiar and reminds me of a certain NECA line we just reviewed recently. Interesting. Down on the legs, you kind of got just the 1, 2. You don't have that 3rd limb, kind of like a dog has. And you got also 3 digits on the feet as well. That's one thing I really like about this creature pack. You get a closer look at these characters that you only see for a glimpse in the movies and shows, but now that we have them in physical form, we can study them a little bit more closely. On the back, not a whole lot much else to see, although I will say this does continue a motif of some nice airbrush work that we get throughout the figure. I think maybe more so on the back than the front. That might not be too accurate. Perhaps over on the front it's a little bit more heavy-handed, thus making it more difficult to notice. But on the back, you could see that contrast between that, I guess, tangerine orange with the base peach color that this figure is sculpted in. So yeah, you get more continuation of the ruffle right there, which is very well sculpted, and then you also have his spindly little tail, which is pretty good. I like how it's molded in a way that I could perhaps wrap around something like C-3PO's neck, or maybe some sort of weapon. So yeah, very good figure over here. Now let's put him aside so we can have a look at Muck Muck, Pilf Muck Muck more specifically, and I like this guy a little bit more just because the colors are a little bit more interesting. If you come up to the face, then that's where you really start to notice those parrot details, especially in those black lines across the white. Then you also have more distinctly yellow eyes, which might be painted the same color as they did on Crumb, but they stand out a lot more because they're backed by that white over there. In this case, you have a more black beak, I suppose. Then you also have these really nice yellow and very bright saturated blue flourishings, which I really like. And on the top, you have this little brown sprout of hair, which is pretty cool. Actually, one thing I just noticed is the hair on the tips of the ears and on the corners of the mouth, in contrast to Crumb, are not painted, so I guess this might have a little flaw. And then when you go down to the collar piece, that's not painted either, so a little bit of an oversight on their part. Maybe I'll go ahead and repaint those in myself. I'll have to think about that. The rest of the body is exactly the same, mold-wise, sculpt-wise, joint-wise, but of course the only difference being it continues with that parrot color scheme, which I really like. I especially like it down here on the legs where it sort of has a zigzag pattern going on to sort of simulate fur. On the back, there's no real airbrushing, unlike Crumb, but that's okay. Again, this is meant to be more of our cartoony counterpart as opposed to the live-action puppeteered Crumb, so that totally makes sense. And on the fingers and toes, you got some painted little, fingernails, toenails, talons, whatever you like to call them, in a nice light brown color. The articulation for these guys is exactly the same and no different from the previous times that we've seen Crumb released alongside Jabba, but basically you have a swivel in the neck, you have a joint that allows him to go that far down, which is really nice, and then not too much up because it kind of gets stuck on the collar piece right there. The shoulders, they hinge upwards and down, they do a swivel, nothing at the wrists, nothing in the torso. Then you also have a single hinge and ball going on at the legs, so you can kick out, back, then you can go this way, then back in. On the knees, you get a single joint that goes up, not too much, but that's okay, not too necessary for this character. Then straight out, but it's a little bit strange because there's no articulation on the foot whatsoever, so it kind of just becomes a stoic piece right there. As limited as articulation is, which makes sense because they're such small and meek little characters, they are able to get in the situations that you probably want them to be in. So here you have Salacious Crumb in a generic sitting position, so if you want to put him beside Jabba or have him be just a pet for another character, then he suits his purpose just fine. And over here we have the single release of Hondo Ohnaka, also exclusively from Disney. And then up here you have Muck Muck kind of coiled around his shoulder, kind of as he did in the show. Basically what I did is I used the tail, kind of wrapped it around his neck a little bit, and it helps him to perch up just fine. Although you can fudge with him a little bit to get him in a position that works a little bit better for you. Now let's have a look at the very Millennium Falcon hungry Mynock, which is very pretty to look at. Well, you know, ugly, but very well sculpted and painted, as you can see here. As I mentioned, this guy debuted and was never seen again until this pack came out within a San Diego Comic-Con Han and Leia pack. It's kind of weird that we get an airborne character that doesn't have any semblance of a figure stand. It would have been as simple as perhaps just having a little acrylic base and then a plastic rod going up that kind of plugs into a port right in the stomach, but oh well, not a big deal. I suppose there's alternatives. The mouth is extremely unnerving and weird. It's kind of got that suction cup alien face hugger thing going on. It also got two very boggly eyes with a nice gloss to them, so that helps to add a little bit of accent work. You got this nice brown color throughout, kind of just a poop color, which makes perfect sense for these airborne little parasites. And definitely the best part of this figure are the translucent wings, which have a nice airbrush going on, I believe. And then you also have some hand-painted details to accentuate kind of the fingers on the wing, I suppose you can call them. For anyone who knows animals, let me know when those are called. And then you also have some painted in vein work along the wings right there. On the back, you also get some more sculpting details going on. You have these very reptilian looking scales. It's got a texture to it when you touch it, which is really nice. And as far as getting him mounted onto a figure stand is concerned, yeah, you could totally make it work. It takes a little bit of effort, just a few seconds to figure out where's the best place to clip it. So I'm using the DC Multiverse stand right here, and I pretty much use the clamp to go against the inner torso, which is kind of entrenched, which is really nice, so you have a little bit of a gap. And then on the back, it looks like it got between one of the wings. And it holds them pretty nice right there. You kind of do a 360 and you get a good look at all the details. So there's probably a lot of different ways that you could sort of hook them up or maybe have them on strings or whatever you like. And also, as you could probably expect, there's no articulation on him whatsoever, not even a neck joint. And going back down to the ground for a bit, we're having a look at the very, very cute Bogling from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. I really hope we see more of these guys, especially in live action. The only time we ever saw him was in the Deluxe Cal Kestis as a GameStop exclusive. And that pack, last I checked, I could be wrong, it was not too hard to get. I actually also have that pack. And speaking of that pack, here's my other Bogling, and I would not be able to tell you which came from which pack simply because they are done, as far as I can tell, exactly the same. All the paint is the same, not one is lighter or darker than the other. The noses might be a little different. I think it's darker on this one than it is on this one, but other than that, I can't see any other differences. If you're noticing anything in these shots, or if you have both of these guys, then let us know in the comments below. Let's get informed here. But yeah, as you can see, it's kind of a cat, squirrel, bird, sloth. I don't know what goes into this guy, but they're really cute looking. I like this design a lot. As you can see it with the head, you've got some very nice glossy eyes going on. You get some more of that airbrush with, I think it's the orange that's airbrushed on? No, I think it's the white. Not really white, more of a cream. And then you also have the orange tangerine kind of color being the base color for the figure that it's molded in. You also have these really nice blue looking toes right there that kind of look like they're part of a bird. This also has some ruffle around the neck. They also have these very creepy looking human hands, which is a little bit spooky, but that's alright. And he has this very bushy little tail with very nice sculpt work going on. And like the Minoc, no articulation, but he doesn't really need it anyways. I guess you could use a figure stand to have him sort of hopping in the air, because that's what they do. They kind of jump like a little bunny rabbit, which is also very precious. And then two guys I don't find very precious at all, hey, over here, are the two porgs. Let's not think about the movies, let's just be objective about the figures. And they are good figures. We have seen these guys before. I think they first appeared in, well, they both appeared together in a little tiny Black Series box, kind of just as a little accessory pack. It was just them with nothing else. And I think there was also a Luke Skywalker kind of a deluxe packaging that also came with these porgs. So I believe this is the third time that we've seen these guys. Looking up close to the face, I'm in the porgs are not cute category of Star Wars fans, so that's kind of what you get. You also get those glossy eyes as we saw on the Bogling and also on the Minoc, so it's nice that they pay attention to detail on the eyes where it counts. The paint scheme for both of them, even though the sculpts are different, is pretty much the same going all the way around. So you've got on the back kind of this lighter gray-brown. You have some yellow accent work around the face. You got the white face and belly, and then the only color difference-wise is, of course, on this particular porg, which has its two little duck feet. Articulation-wise, nothing to talk about on him at all. He's kind of just a figurine. But on this one, uh-oh, there he goes. You do have some ball joints, I believe, going on in the wings, so he can kind of articulate, flare them out a little bit if he's with Chewie or whatever. So you could also turn them out a little bit, so he's a little bit of expressive. He can be cheering, rooting for your favorite team or whatever. So this guy's a little bit fun, I suppose. I can't say that I'm a huge Seagull fan, although I do like the Stormtroopers a little bit. Like Phasma and Cardinal are pretty cool, and I like Kylo as well. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot of use for the porgs personally. I don't know, maybe I'll just give it to the editor, maybe he'll like them.
Well, you thought wrong, you dumb cop.
I've got the Minox suspended in the air once again. Here we have the Star Wars Black Series Kenobi variant of Vader, as well as Hondo Ohnaka. And here we have actually another Vader along with an Obi-Wan, both from the Macquarie-inspired 2-pack, also from Disney Parks. And as you could probably guess, I got both of these packs at the same time. And don't you worry your little heads, these guys are definitely getting reviewed next because I absolutely love them. To compare them with a few other lines, we have our friendly neighborhood head-swapped Spider-Man from Marvel Legends, and then we also have NECA's RoboCop. And to wrap this up, to compare them with some other little guys, we have Tika from the Kenobi show, who is pretty much the same size as any other Jawa you have in the Black Series. Then we also have Black Series Omega with Ruby, and of course Muk Muk, because as always, hey, wait a minute. And that's just about all I have to say for this really nice Disney exclusive creature pack. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to obtain. I'm pretty sure you actually have to be in the store to get it. It taps you at about $35, which is kind of a lot for some little pieces of plastic, but when you think about it, if you put them all together, it's effectively one deluxe figure, I suppose. I think one of the best things about this pack is that it has something for every type of Star Wars fan. If you like the original trilogy, up here you have a Minoc, and of course you have Salacious Crumb. If you like the prequels, then you have Muk Muk over there. If you're into the Gamerverse, and of course you have a Bogling, I threw in my other one from the Cal Kestis Deluxe version from GameStop. And then if you're one of the 7 people who likes the sequels, then you also have some Porgs. So anyone who gets this pack and is able to get it for a non-scalper price, which there are many of, it's a lot of fun. You can throw these in with any display you like. You can get them in any situations you want, as you can see with Muk Muk and the Minoc over there. I want that to be a TV show. That would be cool. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you're enjoying the content that's been coming out so far, then of course be sure to like, comment,
and subscribe, or anger a dark lord of the Sith.
And that's going to put a cork on this review. I think we're all set. I really love these guys, and I hope you will too if you ever come across them. Thank you guys very much for watching. Go in the comments and say hello, and I will see you all later. Sorry about that, I had to pause for a little while because the neighbors decided to have an hour-long shower. Boy, I envy them. Hey, he went down like the quality of the movies that the Porks are in, huh? Yeah, that's this is pretty much Pilf Muk Muk, and I say Pilf Muk Muk because there are 2 Muk Muks within Clone Wars for whatever reason. It makes you wonder what happened to that orange one with the green hair. That was the first Muk Muk we saw. Is he okay? Did Hondo Ohnaka leave him behind? Is he fine? It's kind of another thing that I really like about this pack is that even though each of these figures is kind of movie specific, they kind of remind me of the Old Republic MMO RPG game where you can get those little pets that always run around you. Whenever I play that game, I'm always so obsessed with the pets. I don't know why. Like, you can have little tiny droids, you can have, well, quacking monkey lizards, and things that fly in the air. So I get a little bit of extra nostalgia points when it comes to this pack, simply because you could drop any one of these critters, put them beside any character, and it will work. What's this thing called again? Let me read the card. 1 second.